So we're going ahead and looking at the foldable here. Not foldable, I'm sorry, your flip chart, the little thick sheet of paper that should be at the beginning of your congruent triangle section of your binder. And we're going to start with parallel lines, okay? And these are going to be the three things that you can always add to any picture. Remember, you're always given some information. Excuse me. You're given some information, and then you can add information to a picture. There's only three things you can add to a picture without being given anything else. And so these are the three things you always look for. I used to have them on the side here, but I wanted you to have them on your flip chart. The first one is parallel lines. If we're given some set of parallel lines, we can write some things. And so if you have a different color or a highlighter or something else, this is what information we would say. Okay? We could say, for example, that angle A is we can say that angle A is going to be congruent to angle E. In the same breath, we could also say B and D were congruent. Would you agree? Either one. I'm just going to pick one for today. I mean, you could have picked B or D, but I'm going to pick A and E. And on the back side of your parallel line card, where you're going to have lines, okay, you're going to write if parallel lines, then alternate interior angles congruent. Actually, let's start again. Hang on 1 second. Let's say angle A is congruent to angle B. I'm sorry, angle E, right? That's the information we're adding to our picture, angle A and angle E. That would be the statement that you would put in a proof. The reason would be if you had parallel lines, then alternate interior angles are congruent. So anytime in a proof for congruent triangles you are given some parallel lines, you're probably going to use this theorem. Okay? So that's the statement you would say. You would find a pair of alternate interior angles, and the reason would be the alternate interior angle theorem. On the back of the vertical angles, I think vertical angles was next, right? We're going to go ahead and add the picture in our different color. That's what we're adding to our picture. That's not our given information. We're going to go ahead on the back of the vertical angles picture. We're going to say that angle RTS is going to be congruent to angle BTU, because those are the vertical angles. And so anytime you're given a picture with a set of vertical angles, we can say that they're congruent. So I have RTS and BTU, and so the reason for that would be the vertical angle theorem, or you could just say vertical angles are congruent. I would accept either, okay, the vertical angle theorem, or just what the theorem says, vertical angles are congruent. Okay. Doing okay so far? So you should just have these on either side of your flip chart here. Now, on the back of the shared side, this is the shared side. I'm going to draw it down just because I don't have it anywhere else to put it here. But on the back of the shared side card, we're going to add to our picture that the shared side is congruent. So we would say that YW, segment YW, is congruent to segment YW. And you guys remember what anything that's congruent to itself, what property or what reason we use for that? You guys remember? It is the reflexive property. Very good. And you can say the reflexive property of congruence. That's the big long, reflexive is enough for me. But it is, anytime that they share a side, we can use that. Sometimes we're going to share an angle. We'll look at that probably after winter break, where we have overlapping triangles, that kind of thing. So those are going to be your three any type of proof at all is, do they share a side? Are there parallel lines? Is there a vertical angle? And those are the three things we're going to be looking for. Okay? Now, as part of your homework for tonight, what you're going to be doing is filling out the rest of the front of this particular note card. Okay? So you're going to draw an example of what a side-side-side picture would look like. And you know what? You already have an example, don't you? Right here in your foldable, don't you? So you can take your picture from here and you can put it in here if you would like. So you're going to look at what side-side-side. You're going to draw an example of each of these. Okay? In the do not do this section, what do you think we're going to put? What are the two things you cannot do to prove triangles congruent? I mean, what are the reasons? SSA is a, we don't do bad words in math, right? So SSA is, that's one you don't do. Give me another one that you don't do. Angle, angle, angle. Yeah, you don't do angle, angle. Because that just, one can just be shrunk down and one can be larger. They're similar, but they're not congruent. So those are the two that you're not going to ever do for congruent triangles. So those are what you would put in that section. You're going to be filling out the top half of this as part of your homework. Okay? All right. Go ahead and you can put your name on this. You can do whatever, but put this back into the first page of your congruent triangle section of your binder. Okay? Go ahead and put that away for now. Now, I am going to give you, let you guys go ahead and check your answers to page 222 for your homework. I'll go ahead and pause the recording. I did grade number 18, by the way, for extra credit here. You did JBK, and that had to be the correct order. Remember that when you write a congruent statement, the order of the angles really matter. What corresponds to what? So go ahead and check your answers there, and if you want to go over any, I'd be glad to. So if there aren't any problems on the textbook homework, let's change our focus to this sheet here. And let's look at question 13, because so few of us got this one right, and I want to make sure that we looked at it. Okay? So let's look at this particular picture. This is W, A, R, X, and B. Okay. Now, the only information that we're given here is that we have a pair of parallel lines. Would you agree? And that is one of the three things that we're looking for. So if I have parallel lines, let's mark what we can as being congruent. So what was the reason on our flip chart? If we had parallel lines, then what is true? What's congruent to each other? Alternate interiors. So this would be angle W would be congruent to angle what? X. Good. Is there another pair of alternate interiors? An angle A with a different pair of lines because it's a different angle, and that would be congruent to angle B. I agree. All right, so do I have enough information right now to prove triangles congruent? Not yet. All I have is angle, angle. Would you agree? So I'm looking for a side of some kind because I don't have, I see vertical angles. We could mark those congruent too. I'm not sure that that helps us, but we can. Would you agree? That's fine. Do I have any information about sides being congruent at all, anywhere? No. So that's why this is a none. There's no way to prove these triangles are congruent. I don't have enough information. A lot of us were saying angle, 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 side. Well, I don't have any side information at all in this picture. This was one of those where you couldn't prove it. It would be in the none category. There's not enough information to prove that was congruent. Okay? Let me go ahead and read off the rest of those answers on that first page, if you don't mind. I'll just kind of read them off here. Number 5 was, I'll just put it up and write it down. So number 5 was angle, side, angle. Number 6 was side, side, side. Number 7 was side, angle, side. Number 8 was none. Number 9 was side, number 9 was none. Number 10 was side, hang on. Number 10 was none. Number 11 was side, angle, side. Number 12 was angle, side, angle. Number 13 we know was none. Number 14 was angle, side, angle. Number 15 was none. And number 16 was side, angle, side. How did you get that from for number which one? 16? I didn't. I got 16. I got side angle side. Had I get side angle side? You had not none? Okay. So if you look at 16, anybody want to put HL for 16? Kind of, anytime you have that right angle, you want to think. All right, so in this case, you have a pair of congruent sides. You do also have a pair of right angles. You know the other one's going to be right as well, the perpendicular line. So we have to go through our three things. Are there vertical angles? No. Do they share a side? Yeah. So we're going to mark that congruent, and that's where you get side angle side. Okay? Any others on this page that you'd like to look at? You want to know why some of those were nones? Or do you feel like you understand why they are? This is your opportunity. I thought they were a little confusing, like 12. I thought it was a little, well, 12 was not, but here's number 8. I think that's a good one to look at. Why is 8 none? Okay, so let's look at 8. Okay, in problem number 8, we have two different triangles. I'll just redraw them here. We do have an angle and two sides. Would you agree? We have an angle and two sides. The problem is that is the angle the included angle? Is it the angle that is formed by the two sides? No. So this one is the side-side angle, which, as we know, is not a way to prove triangle congruent. So anytime you have two sides in an angle, that angle has to be the included one, and it wasn't here. Okay? Any others that you weren't sure about? 11. Okay, let's look at 11. So at number 11, again, we also have some pictures here. Let me just redraw. We have a congruence. We have some information. You also want to look at the placement of the angle and the sides. So again, we have two sides and an angle here. Is the angle the included angle in this case? It is. So we could actually write a congruent statement here, couldn't we? Let's try it. Triangle TAG, or triangle TAG, is going to be congruent to what triangle on the other one? What does angle T correspond to over here? E, okay, and then A would correspond to, so it would be EBN, and that would be the congruency, and the reason would be side, angle, side, because the angle is formed by the two sides. It is the included angle. Okay? So a little better? Yeah. I thought some of the nuns were hard on that one. You didn't? Anything else? All right, let's look at the back, if you would, on the 4-2. Okay? Number 1, the included angle is angle M. Number 2, which sides include, well, let me just draw. Sorry, let me draw that one. So this is the 4-2 worksheet. So we're going to draw a triangle MGT. Okay, GM and GM and MT is going to be, GM and MT is going to be angle M. Which sides include T, TM, and GT? Which angle is included between GT and MG? That'd be angle G. Number 4 is none. Number 5 is side angle side. Number 6 is side side side. Number 7 is none. Number 8 is side side side. Number 9 is side angle side. Number 10 was none. Number 11 was side angle side. And number 12 was side side side. Any of those? Let's go with that. Okay, then. Go ahead and put that in your binder for me, if you would, please. That should go in your for your notebook check you're going to have probably on Friday, beginning before we have our geometric celebration. Because when we get to proofs, and you don't have this, we'll just have to kind of do this together at the top. By the way, does anybody else speak tape? Very special on the tape. Go ahead and look at each 4 problems. And these is like, let's just start with problem number 1. Let me just kind of cover it up. And let's say, because sometimes in a proof, we're going to start proofs today. Sometimes in a proof you are given some information that's not one of these 3 things that you can always look for. So here's an example of that. We are told that x is the midpoint. Now, I see a keyword, and I see a word called midpoint. What is a midpoint? What is it? Yeah. It's the middle, okay. If I know that a point is a middle, do I have anything that might be congruent to each other? That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to prove either sides or angles are congruent. Julie, what do you think? Perfect. So if x is the midpoint of AD, let's look right here. Here is AD, and x is the midpoint. Can we use x as the midpoint and use the definition of midpoint to say that some things are congruent to each other? Okay, so let's use that. What is congruent to what? AX would be congruent to what? XD. Very good. And the reason for that would be the definition of midpoint, because that's what the midpoint says. It also says that x is the midpoint of BC. So what 2 segments would be congruent based on that? Go ahead. Well, that's not going to say that. Go ahead. BX. And notice we're using a different number of congruent marks. What was the other one? X. What? C. Very good. Okay. All right. Do I have enough information right now to prove triangles congruent? Not yet. Almost. All I have is a pair of sides. I at least need an angle or another pair of sides. Would you agree with that? So we've used our given information. We've used the midpoint. We've used the definition of midpoint. So now we have to rely on our trusty 3. Do they share a side at all? No. Do they have vertical angles? Yes. So what angles are congruent? Angles 3 and 4 are congruent. And the reason would be vertical angles are congruent. Now do I have enough information to say that they're congruent? What would the reason be? Side angle side. Very good. Okay. All right. So we're going to erase this. Oh, side angle side. Thank you. You're exactly right. All right. Side angle. Thank you. All right. So we're going to go on to the second problem. Now this one is a totally different problem. Okay. Try to scroll it up so you can see a little bit more. We're given a bunch of information here. Same picture. Okay. AB and BC are perpendicular. So let's just draw that in, should we? So we have a pair of perpendicular lines. Then I have that DC and BC are congruent. Are perpendicular. If lines are perpendicular, what kind of angles are formed? Michael, put your phone on my face. There's only one reason why you're looking down there. So 2 and 5 are. Do we know that the 2 and 5 are congruent actually? Because when you think about parallel lines, don't put alternate in there. Sophia? Right. So that's something we need to make sure we add to our reason sheet. So can you guys get out your reason sheet for me? We need to make sure that information is in your reason sheet. So both of these things, if you would, double check that they're there. I'm not sure we've added it. Would you look at your reason sheet and see if those things are there? Perpendicular lines form right angles. Do you see that anywhere? Do you see all right angles are congruent? Okay. What number are the reason sheet are we on? This will be 16 and 17? Okay. So if you would please add 16 and 17. And we might as well go ahead and use our reasons for congruent triangles, right? Let's add all of those. So let's go ahead and add 18, side, 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 19, side, angle, side, 20, angle, side, angle, 21, angle, angle, side, and 22, HL. And you can go ahead and You may or may not get to that today. Go ahead and put it there. Okay, so on your reason sheet, we should all together be at 23. That was a big sum. Anybody do anything fun this weekend? What did you do today? We do a Christmas concert, and then we're on the beach there. Oh, that's fun. I've never been to that. I've been there, but I've never been on the plane. Did you do it at night or during the day? At night. Yeah, at night would be good. Can you see DC from the top? Not really. Anybody else do anything fun? I think that's pretty fun. Oh, I like that. My funny thing. And your face. Like, not just like 2 by 2 by 2. You have to have one of these school like. Isabella. We really call her Meatball. That's really what she is. So just like Meatball. All right, you guys got a copy down? All right, you can put your reason sheet back in your page protector. We're going to definitely keep it out. We're going to use it quite a bit today. It is something that you can always use. Did we write definitions on there? Like, do we go to definitions, ... I hope. Can you see if that's on there anywhere? I think we did, right, in the beginning? Because, for example, definition of, I recorded that whole thing about my dog. Awesome. Anyway, enjoy Meatball, that's fine. We can use definitions anytime we want. And we were that, but see, for example, that one that we just looked at, this guy here, didn't we use a definition of midpoint? And there are other things like definition of bisector. We could have that as a given information. But basically what I wanted to get out of this is while you have your reason sheet out, if I'm told we have some perpendicular lines like we are here, can I now get to the point that they're congruent to each other? That angles 2 and 5 are congruent. Because perpendicular lines form right angles, and we know that all those right angles are congruent. So it's kind of a two-step process to get from perpendicular to congruent angles. You need both of those steps together in the proof. We'll get to some of that today. We're also told in number 2 that BX is congruent to XC. Okay, we'll mark that. That's given to us. Do I have enough information right now to say that the 2 triangles are congruent? I need extra. So I've used all my given information, so now I'm relying on my trusty 3. Do they share a side? No. Are there vertical angles? So let's mark those. So again, 3 and 4 are congruent. What's the reason that these triangles are congruent? Angle, side, angle. Good. Notice they're the same 2 triangles, but we used different ways to prove that they were congruent, didn't we? It all has to do with what information was given to us. Okay? All right, let's try one more here. Let's try number 3. In this case, again, a different set of information. We're told AB and CD are parallel. So we're told that AB and CD are parallel. Usually with parallel lines, that we're thinking, that's one of our flip chart things, right? We're thinking that maybe we have alternate interiors. Let's keep going. We're also told AB is congruent to CD. So AB is congruent to CD. Okay? Congruent's good. Do I have enough information right now to say the triangles are congruent? Not yet. So to rely on my 3. I see parallel lines. Let's use it. So based on that, what angles are congruent? I'm sorry? Not 1 and 2. 1 and 6. I agree with that. What you said? I agree. So angles 1 and 6 are congruent, and they are congruent because if lines are parallel, exterior angles are congruent. Do I have another pair of incongruent angles? No. Well, I could go 3 and 4, but let's not use that yet. Same reason. Are there another pair of alternate interior angles? 2 and 5. I agree. 2 and 5. So what would that be? Angle, side, angle. Good so far. Okay. Again, another way to prove triangles are using different information. Okay. Excellent. Go ahead for me and take out your foldable that we started. I think last time what we did is we added a picture on the bottom part, and I said that we would save the top part for proof. Is that correct? So let's go ahead and start some proofs here. We're going to start basic. And we're going to start with our side, side, side proof. So this is the one that goes on the top of your side, side, side. So it's the one that's up here. Okay? In each of these proofs, you're going to be given something, and you're going to be asked to prove something. So I'm going to give you each of those information. So here we're going to be given that BC is congruent to BF, and that CD is congruent to FD. We're going to be asked to prove triangle BCD is congruent to triangle BFD. And let me give you the picture. So this is kind of what would be given to you in any scenario we were asked to prove something, a picture, and then a given and approved statement. So we have to remind ourselves, how do we set up a proof? What are we going to do? What information do we need to add to the situation? We need to start by doing what? In any proof at all, what do we need to create? A T-chart, or I was going to say 2 columns, but a T-chart's fine. You want to call it that. That's kind of what you were taught in algebra, I think, right? So we're going to create 2 different columns. Do you remember what the headings of those columns are called? Statements and reasons. Okay, good. And we do know some information. We do know we're going to number our statement and our reason column. And we do know that our first statement is always what? Okay, that's the reason is going to be given. But whatever information we are given goes in the statement part. So we're going to write our information here. And it is okay to write it all at once. I'm going to write both of them here. Sometimes you will see them written separately. No big thing. Okay? And I'm actually going to mark the given information on our picture. So BC is congruent to BF, and CD is congruent to FD. Okay? We also know that in any proof, the last statement should be what? What you're asked to prove. Now, I don't know what number that is right now, so I'm just going to kind of fill it in. I'm just going to leave the number part blank, but I'm going to put that triangle BCD is congruent to triangle BFD. Because I know that that's what my last statement should say. Your last statement should always be what you're asked to prove. Okay? So, even if we weren't doing a proof at all here, just looking at the picture, do we know that the triangles are congruent? Okay? Do I have enough information right now? Do I just need to put number 2 and be done? No. Not yet. So we need to go through our trusty 3 things. Are there vertical angles? No. Do they share a side? Yes. So because I'm going to add that information to my picture, I'm going to use a different color, and that tells me I'm going to add a statement in my proof. And the statement would be that segment BD is congruent to segment BD. It's that shared side. And here, do you remind me what you said? What was the reason again? they share a side? What did you say on the back? What was that thing called? Begins with R? Reflexive property. That is the reason that they are congruent. That's the reflexive property of congruence. BB is congruent to BB. Now do I have enough information to say that they're congruent? Sure. So we'll just go ahead and label that step 3. At reason 3, what's the reason that the triangles are congruent? Side, side, side. Well, we knew it was going to be side, side, side because that's the section of your foldable that I told, right? We knew that was going to be it. A quick 3-step proof. Nothing more, nothing less. Did you do that on your own today? Nothing hard about it. I tell you, congruent triangle proofs are going to solidify. You're going to understand proofs, I promise you. When we come back, we'll do hard ones eventually, but we're going to start using. All right, short, sweet, to the point. Shared side, reflexive, done, move. Great. Can I move on? Okay. Let's go to the next one. The next one I believe I had you pick what side, angle side. Is that correct? Okay. So, all right, I'm just making sure I have everything here. Okay, done. All right, so inside angle side, this is the picture that we're going to draw. We're going to say BC, AB. That went there. That's supposed to be at the corner. We're going to be given some information and asked to prove some information. Oh, wrong one. How do you guys set this proof up yourself? Put in what you know, and then I want you to look through your information to see what else we can add to our picture. Remember that the reason we want to pick that the triangles are congruent is side, angle, side. So we have to be very careful about what we choose. You want to make sure you mark on your picture the given information, and then you can use your separate color for anything else you would add to the picture. So mark what's congruent right at the beginning. So I'm going to mark my parallel lines. I'm going to mark if they're also congruent. That's all that's given to us. So we'll need to come up with some more information. Again, you can put this information all in one step, which I tend to do. We know what we're asked to prove. Can you tell me how many steps this is going to be? 4. It is a 4-step proof. I agree. So let's make sure we know what are the 2 steps that we're going to have to add into our proof. Okay. So let's use our given information. We have parallel lines. Do you agree? So I know if I'm given parallel lines, according to my 3 things on my trusty 3 that I'm always checking, I'm going to be looking for alternate exterior angles. Do you see any here? Sure. I see that angle DCA is congruent to angle, what's its alternate match? BAC. And what would the reason be alternate interior angle here. You can if you want. Don't just write alternate interior angles. That is not enough. You either write the alternate interior angle theorem or you write out what it means. If you're given parallel, then alternate interior angles are congruent. I actually would prefer you to write the if-then statement because that really shows me that you know what is happening. You were given parallel, therefore the alternate interior angles are congruent. All right, I don't have enough yet. So what else am I adding to my picture? I've already used all my given information. So now we're going to go through. Do they share a side? Yeah. So what would I say as the next statement? The shared side is here, so what do I say? AC is congruent to AC. And anytime they share a side, what's the reason? The reflexive property of congruence. So why are the triangles congruent? Side, angle, side. The angle is in fact included, so it is a side, angle, side group. I think it's helpful because you always have three things to rely on, don't you? It's got to be one of the three. Do they share a side? Are there vertical angles? Do I have parallel lines? Notice I'm putting what's in red is what I had to add to my picture, and what's in black in this case is just the setup of the proof. What was given to us, what we know we had to prove. Okay, so if you're adding, I'm putting it in a different color. All right, we have a couple more to go. I realize it's kind of a long note-taking day. I'm not a fan either. We'll try. All right, let's try. The next one was angle, side, angle. You agree? I'm going to try to do a different one. I think. Let's try this one. This one's a little harder. We have some room. This is going to be our angle, side, angle proof. This is going to be a longer one. All right, here's our picture. Make sure you realize that segment AB is straight up and down as a vertical line here. We're going to be given that segment SA is perpendicular to segment AB. We're going to be given that segment TB is perpendicular to segment AB. And we're going to be given that O is the midpoint of AB. We're going to be asked to prove a triangle TOB is congruent to triangle SOA. A lot of information going on here. This one has more than 3, more than 4. Remember what I said at the beginning of class. If I'm giving you some perpendicular lines, how many steps until I can get to that they're congruent angles? A 2-step process. So that alone gives me 2 steps. So that we have to put both of those in. So let's set up our statements and our reasons like we normally do, except that we should probably go ahead and put in perpendicular marks, and that's really all we have. We can say O is the midpoint, and we know we can use the definition of midpoint to say something, but I don't have anything that's congruent that I can mark on the picture. You only want to mark if something is congruent as in the first initial color. Okay? So we're going to have our statements. We're going to have our reasons. And let's fill in what we know at this point. A lot of given information, so we'll have to write it. congruent in triangle S. I'm actually going to tell you there's 6 steps. I'll tell you how many steps there are. Okay. 6. So we're going to have to add step 2, 3, 4, 5. Huh. Remember, if you look at your reason sheet, the very beginning of class, what did we say that you had to add? If you have perpendicular lines, which is what we have, then we have to have somewhere in our proof that says perpendicular lines form right angles. Once we have right angles, then we can say the congruent statement, all right angles are congruent. So we actually have to put both of these in our proof, both of them. So we're not going to say anything about 90 degrees. We're going to say they form right angles, and then the right angles are congruent. Okay? So that's what we're going to have to add. So let's do that. So in our proof here, let's see what are the right angles. So wouldn't you say angle A is a right angle and angle B is a right angle in this case? So let's say that. So angles A and B are right angles. How do I know that? What's the reason I can say that the angles are right angles? Because, what does the reason sheet say? Perpendicular lines do what? Form right angles. Perpendicular lines form right angles. Good. Once I know the angles are right, now I can say that they're congruent to each other. Angle A is going to be congruent to angle B. Angle A is congruent to angle B because all right angles are congruent. I've realized that we can kind of get to, we can kind of see that originally, like I know angle A and B are congruent because they're perpendicular lines, but we have to be formal about the process of us getting there. So I know that if we have perpendicular lines, I'm going to have a 2-step process to get to the angles are congruent. Okay? And both of these reasons will be used. That's all I've done right now. All right. Have I used all of my given information? Is there anything else given to us that we could use to put in our proof? Taylor, what? Good. So now I'm going to use definition of midpoint somewhere. That's going to be the reason, definition of midpoint, because I'm told something is a midpoint. So if something is a midpoint, what's congruent to each other? Angle, or is that angle side? Side AO and side B. Good. So side AO is congruent to side OB. Because the definition of midpoint says that. I agree. Do I have enough information so far to put that the triangles are congruent? Not yet. And I've used all my given information. I've got nothing else to use there. So I'm going to use my trusty 3. Do they share a side? No. Are there vertical angles? Yes. So let's use that. Angle AOS is going to be congruent to its vertical pair, which is TOB. And that's because vertical angles are congruent. Would you agree with that? So we've marked that. Good grief, I hope we're ready. So AOS is congruent to TOB. True. Yes, sir. Either way, and they're just angles. You don't. When you say angles are congruent, you don't have to worry about them matching up. It's when you say the triangles are congruent where you have to worry about them, the two corresponding parts. Very good question. Ask the box.
You scroll down.
Yep. What's the reason they're congruent, Bo? Angle, side angle. Good. The triangles are congruent because of this. Good. That's pretty long proof. Okay, I get it. 6-stepper. But really, two of those steps kind of went together, and they will always go together. If you have perpendicular lines, you should red flag think to yourself, I got to put two steps in there. Okay? That usually happens. So if you think about that, it doesn't really, it's not that long. So there. We have a couple more. I know. I think we'll save HL for next time. I'm kind of recognizing. We have one more though, at least for today. So let's do angle side, shall we? Okay. So last one for our flip chart for today is angle side. And on angle side, we're going to put this picture. So I'm going to use the picture at the bottom. You can redraw it. I'm not sure if this is the picture I gave you guys or not, but it's the one I'm going to use. Is that the one I gave you at the bottom? Yeah. Okay. Same picture. We're going to be given something, and we're going to ask to prove something. So let's draw our parallel information because that's given to us. We're also given some congruent smarts. Let's see if we can get angle side. There are only 3 reasons that you will use in this proof total. So knowing that, you can kind of put a couple of things together. Kind of like we put all of our given information together. If you use a statement more than once, use a reason more than once, sometimes you can put it together as well. So I'm going to do that here. I'm going to tell you that we're going to do this in 3 steps. All right, let's just write our given information down. We know it's given, and we know what we're asked to prove. Now, this proof can be done, these 2 triangles can be proved in 2 different methods. It can be angle side angle or angle side. Because we are in the angle side proof section of our foldable, we're going to know that we're going to use angle side. So I know I'm going to use it. Okay? So that's going to be very helpful with what I pick for my second reason, or my second statement. Before I jump the gun and look at my vertical angles, I don't want to do that yet. I want to use all of my given information. So I have some parallel lines. I agree. So because if lines are parallel, then alternate interior angles are going to be congruent. I know that that reason is going in here somewhere. So let's write it. If the lines are parallel, then alternate interior angles are congruent. I'm going to use that information that was given to us. Okay? Good. So what are a pair of alternate interior angles? Okay, angle X and angle N. I agree. So angle X is going to be congruent to angle N. Is there another pair? L and Y. A different set of letters there. So angle L is congruent to angle Y. So because I did that, do I have enough information right now to prove by angle side? Don't I? Angle side. The side is not included between the 2 angles. It's off at the end. Angle side. Those parallel have nothing to do with being congruent. You can have a small parallel and a large parallel. They're not congruent. They're just parallel. That's all. Okay? So I do have enough. We're done. I didn't even have to use the vertical angles at all. Okay? Didn't even have to. until Wednesday. But I'd like for you guys to take a minute and draw in on your little cardstock paper here. I think that's part of your homework because I'm done writing proofs for now. Can you go ahead and fill in a picture for each of these right here? I'll turn the lights on for us. And then I'm going to give you something to work on homework. You are going to have a couple of proofs to do for homework, but you'll live. I know you will. So let's work on this part right here, right now. Can I have some volunteers who wants to go up and draw the side, side, side? So obviously you would draw its match and the one right to it, and the angle, side angle, you would just draw the match. And then you know not to do, we've already talked about, you're not going to do angle, angle, or side, side angle, right? So we know that's not. Anyone want to volunteer to go up and draw one for the first, any of these 5? It doesn't matter which one. No volunteers? All right, I'll just pick you. No problem. Try to draw it up there. Let's see. You can pick one. It doesn't look like I'm Esteban, go ahead and do one. Go ahead. Pick another one. You're going to pick 5.
Side, side, side.
Kenya, you're going to pick, yeah, it doesn't matter which one. Kenya, Dina, Alejandra, you're going to pick one, and we have one more. Ashley, okay? So 2 at a time. So go ahead and draw yours. Oh, what I meant, actually, Esteban, which is not a big deal that you did what you did, I just meant like, I'm just going to erase it real quick, and I'm going to have you redo it. Just, what I meant is that draw its match over here. So, for example, like over here, like draw the other triangle, and then like do side, side. You see what I'm saying? Okay, so I'm going to erase real quick. Sorry. Why is this not doing it? Whoa, I want to erase. There we go. All right. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to confuse you guys. Go ahead, try again. Thanks. 2 at a time. Right. All right, a couple of things. I disagree with a couple of them, so let's just make sure that we have them all written down correctly here. Is that recording, right? So I disagree with, we have to add something to this one. I disagree with that. So let's just move on. So over here, I think I just got to erase actually for these A's. And just make sure you have angle, side angle there. And in HL, we have the leg, but what did we forget to mark? The hypotenuse has to be marked as well. I agree with everything else looks great. Angle, angle, side would look something like this. But the side is off to be, we have 2 angles to the side, but the side is off to it. It looks something along those lines. Okay? So just make sure you have those written down. Kira came by and gave you guys your homework. Your homework is on the 4-3 side. You're going to do all of that. Notice that there are 3 proofs. One of them is kind of set up for you. You just have to fill in the blanks. But 4 and 5, I do fully expect you to do a statement column. You can do them right at the bottom if you want, right on here, just one on each side. And then on the back, you're going to do only problems 1 and 2. Okay? We haven't done CPCTC yet. So I'll just go ahead and write your homework down here. Your homework is going to be the 4-3 worksheet all. And then on the 4-4, you're only going to do 1 and 2 only, okay? So I do expect to see those proofs set up for me. And that's going to be your assignment for next class, okay? You have about 5 minutes now to go ahead and start working on it if you'd like.